Jimmy was not a rapper then.
Right.
He was your man, like on the side, like in the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when Ballin' took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing.
50 Cent just locked his crosshairs on Jim Jones, and this whole thing is blowing up fast. It kicked off when Jim threw shade at Nas during Fat Joe and Jadakiss's podcast, claiming he's a better rapper than Nas and has done more for the culture than Nas ever could. That's a bold claim, especially from someone who once showed major love to Nas. So what made him switch up so hard like that? Some people are saying the flip was so sudden, it felt staged. And now folks are whispering about Jay-Z possibly moving pieces behind the scenes. This ain't just some random jab. 50 is out here accusing Jim of moving like a Jay-Z puppet, and that accusation is turning heads fast. And check this. Fans been pointing out the timeline because it looks real suspicious. For years, Jim clowned Harv in interviews, throwing jabs whenever he got the chance, acting like they'd never rocked together. Then out of nowhere, he's talking like Jay is his big bro, showing nothing but respect. That kind of switch up looks shaky, no matter how you slice it. Now let's run it back to when all this chaos first started.
He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mace be that and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally, he had one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked, and I knew, I just took the shot, Murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was going to go for it. Mm-hmm. But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. Then you got to watch and see how he responds. And then when you see, he like, oh, he really like that. Give me this. Give me Jimmy. Yeah, tell him we want him. We want you at the show, Jimmy. Yo, but that was one of those things I just threw it out and see what. And then when he bit to it, because it was like he was having a moment that not sure that was going to ever happen again at that point. And then he's going, for them, they had records that where, look, I always said it's just certain artists, I go, damn, when is he going to have his moment? Like, Fab, I said.
Jim pulled up to sit with Fat Joe and Jadakiss to break down some recent hits, but things went left real quick. Joe brought up the wild comparisons younger fans been making, saying some of them claim Jim's done more for hip-hop than Nas. And that was Jim's moment to keep it cool, maybe even show a little respect. Instead, he laughed and brushed it off like, these new kids don't even know. And then he doubled down on the idea that his influence is way bigger than Nas's. Like,
I wasn't in the ad
right
because of look, Jay-Z and them was putting it together.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they still harbor some energy towards me.
You think you were purposely left out of the ad?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think. I think that they were saying the NFL had some issues with me that I don't know what those issues are. Like, what is the issue? You see what I'm saying? Like, and I with M, because like with Nori he had communication. He said, yeah, I talked to the big homie. He was saying to Jay, he was telling me, the white boy wouldn't do the truth without 50.
I hit the homie. The big homie, Jay-Z, right? And I told him to come pull up on me. And he pulled up on me, and he said, the white guy called for 50 Cent. So I said, who's the white guy? I'm digging this Jimmy Iovine. And he said, no, Eminem called directly for 50. And he said,
that's his guy.
He said, I can't do it if I can't bring 50 up.
But that's his guy.
Right. And I'm like, that's when I start saying crazy stuff, because I look and I go, oh, that's your big homie, right? And so he imaged himself after a gay painter. The big homie want to look like a gay painter.
What are we talking about here?
We're talking about Basquiat. He wants to look like a gay painter.
Oh my God, I think I know where we're going with
So
this.
now look, what I'm saying to you is, look, when you start looking at, that's not mine, that's theirs, they Harper, right? But when you look at, M is looking at the entire legacy.
Bro,
Jimmy
what?
popping
That
all
caught
that bull.
everybody
I be
off guard.
seeing Jimmy
And
talking
look,
about,
nobody
we
is denying
Gucci, boo,
Dipset
boo,
had
he
their
in the
run.
Gucci
They
store,
shaped
man.
a
We
whole
Gucci,
era
boo,
and
boo.
left a mark for
Black
real.
King
But when
niggas
Jim
was
started
going-
bragging
they was
about
going,
his
fuck,
legacy,
Jimmy,
he
they
didn't
was
even
like,
shout out the diplomats or
Marita
acknowledge the
Monero.
crew that helped build that wave. He made it sound like he carried
Coca-Cola.
Harlem all by himself, like he was the single force behind everything that movement became. The moment he said that, you could see Jadakiss's whole face drop. Man looked like he just heard the most out-of-pocket take of the year. He didn't even need to say a word. His silence alone was screaming, "Stop the cap!" with full force. Everybody knows Nas is a certified legend. No debate needed.
I recently saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
Yeah, that's my young boy.
big
right there.
hits.
He's
You-
wild.
Yo, he looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying? Nas is like a god.
In my
right?
era, in my era too. I mean,
So to
well,
be compared-
well, let me
that young kid out.
He was young and we loved that he loved Jim Jones. I want you to break it down.
Let's break this down. I admired Nas, but remember Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade.
And it's wild because Jim didn't even start getting real respect in rap until Ballin' took off and hit the charts. Now the same guy who was excited just to meet Nas last year is suddenly claiming he's the better artist? That's not confidence. That's straight ego on max level. Jadakiss stayed cool, but his face gave away everything without him even talking. And trust, every major artist watching that clip caught the energy instantly. But Jim didn't pump the brakes, he went full speed with it. He said he could outperform Nas in every way, talking about better bars, sharper flow, more impact, more relevance, the whole package. Then he pushed it even further by saying, "I'm more relevant now than Nas has ever been." That line didn't just raise eyebrows, it dropped jaws. That wasn't bold confidence, that was pure chaos. And to make it sound official, Jim started pulling out stats like he was presenting evidence in court. Billboard numbers, Spotify streams, viral hits, album placements, the whole digital scoreboard. He tried to flip data into a shield, but the internet wasn't buying any of it. Nas fans came in fast with the receipts, real fast, and they lit up the comment section. They pulled out charts, classic albums, award lists, everything under the sun to remind everyone that Nas been delivering timeless music long before Jim even secured a record deal. They reposted the stats, dragged the claims, and made it clear they weren't letting anybody rewrite history. And let's be real, even people who aren't Nas loyalists could see the gap here.
So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like you did, came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan. Period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you gotta realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that, I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation. We talking about 94, 93, I was in 11th grade. Nigga, it's 2025. There's a big gap there, you know what I mean? And I want people to understand that. So when Shorty's telling people that, yeah, he's 20-some years old, that goes to show the part of the era that he's in, that I came into light and started going crazy, that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them, some of them know. But
You know what I mean?
A lot
Like-
of them know.
This beef didn't just pop out of nowhere. This energy been simmering since the early 2000s when Nas called out Dipset and even mocked Cam'ron's Come Home With Me album, calling it trash. Cam fired back over the Hate Me Now beat, and from there it turned into a full-on war. For years, the two camps threw shots, dropped diss tracks, and shaded each other in interviews, Harlem versus Queens, Pride versus Legacy, and nobody held back. But here's where the whole story flips into something even wilder. While the Dipset versus Nas feud was heating up, Jim and Jay-Z were beefing at the same time. Jay used to clown Jim out in the open, and things got messy real fast. The real tension exploded when Jay refused to make Cam'ron the vice president of Rockefeller. That single decision sparked a huge fallout between the Harlem crew and Hob. Jim backed Cam all the way, and that move is what kicked off his long, harsh rivalry with Jay. These weren't small disagreements. This was years of deep frustration between both sides. Fast forward to right now, and suddenly Jim is out here praising Jay-Z while taking shots at Nas, even though he spent years aiming at both of them. That switch up got people talking because it doesn't look random at all. This looks strategic. calculated, something that's making the whole rap world watch every word he says. Jim Jones and Cam'ron always felt like they got played back in the Rockefeller days. They believed the label used Harlem's style and energy just to boost their own brand and look cool. And now, with Jim flipping his stance so fast, fans are wondering what the real motivation is behind this sudden loyalty shift. They always felt like Rockefeller used Harlem's style.
But I hear the comparisons and the Nick be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this. I'm talking about the industry. I've been putting on. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I got to show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You want to go to the Billboard entries, pull up Nas Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entries.
Listen, we can't compare the two. What I'm trying to tell you is
I want to go there.
Hold on.
I want to go down the line now because now we going down the line. He's a rapper and I'm a rapper.
Listen,
let's go statistically.
It feels great.
No, but I want to go statistically because when people be like,
I feel the same way. We all feel the same way.
And forget about the numbers. My numbers back up.
Let me step up to the forefront.
Then toss them aside like they didn't matter one bit. And people forget it was Dame Dash who originally brought them into the rock circle, not Jay-Z. But when Jay stepped into full control, Jim and Cam felt like he pushed them out on purpose, like he wanted to dim Harlem's shine and erase their influence. And Jim didn't stay quiet about it at all. He let the whole world know exactly how he felt. He went straight at Jay, calling him soft, saying he was disconnected from the streets, and accusing him of locking Harlem out of the whole Rockefeller movement. And this wasn't just rap talk for promotion. Jim took it all the way to the streets. On December 22nd, 2008, he got into a full-on brawl inside a Louis Vuitton store in Manhattan, and the person he fought was a close friend and business partner of Jay-Z. That wasn't some random push and shove moment. This was personal, with real history behind it. Jim ended up pleading guilty to misdemeanor assault almost a year later, and that incident became the proof fans always point to when they say his beef with Hov ran deep, way deeper than rap beef ever goes. But here's the part that flips the whole story on his head. After all that chaos, after all those interviews where he clowned Jay and called him out for years, Jim switched up. He folded completely. He went back trying to secure a deal from the same man he'd been dissing for decades. That shocked everybody watching the situation. The same dude who once wanted to challenge Jay at every turn was suddenly hoping Hov would help bring his career back to life. That switch had the rap world staring like, what just happened? That's why so many people say Jim can't be trusted. He switches sides the moment things start getting tight. It's like loyalty just doesn't stick to him. And that's exactly why 50 Cent never respected him in the first place. Back in 2007,
put it to you like this, Jim. Hey, bro, you been in this thing, but lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Yeah,
y'all
but look how you dress. Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in. And the things
I can be in the church house. You can't ever Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, y'all know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas. You're not seeing Nas, bro. Let's be real.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than Nas.
It don't matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Nobody from Dipset gonna take you over Nas.
When the G-Unit versus Dipset beef was hitting its peak, Jim shocked the whole industry by popping up at a G-Unit event. Yeah, 50 invited him, but not to sign him or build with him. Nah, 50 was running strategy while Jim was still trying to figure out the basics. He brought Jim out just to expose how easily he moves. 50 wanted to show everybody, especially Cam'ron, that Jim would pull up anywhere just for a little spotlight. It was a setup from the jump, and when it all played out, 50 embarrassed him right in front of the whole rap world. No contract waiting, no partnership, nothing. Just a cold moment that reminded everyone that loyalty actually means something in this game. From that day on, 50 looked at Jim as someone without a solid code, somebody who didn't stand firm during pressure, and once 50 forms that opinion, it sticks. Fast forward to now, 50 and Jay-Z been locked in a quiet Cold War for years. So when Jim ran back to Jay looking for a lifeline, that was the final straw. The second he signed that Roc Nation deal, everything shifted instantly. The energy changed, the tension got loud, and Jim officially put himself on 50's list of people he's never rocking with again. And right after that Roc Nation deal landed, Jim suddenly started tossing slick shots at Nas, real subtle, but real noticeable. And people started asking if it was a coincidence, but 50 isn't buying that at all. Not even for a second. He's convinced Jay-Z is moving pieces behind the scenes and using Jim like a pawn in a bigger strategy.
Coming up and things like that.
I've heard you say that.
Since the barbecue and things like that, like he really put the whole dope boy rap, crack hustler, get fresh rap into perspective before anybody else. before I heard Jay do it, before I heard anybody else. Like, he changed the cadence of rap into a whole different steam. Like, he's the one that broke the camel's back when it came to artists, like, to me, when it came to artists like Big Daddy Kane and all these artists that came right before him. Like, after Nas came with that, they started to fade out, and then Jay, Fat Joe, like all of these rappers that are spitting about the life that we was really starting to live right now and how it was changing. Like, this is, you know what I mean? So that's how I felt about that whole little situation.
In the 50s mind, Jay's been itching to spark something with Nas again, but instead of stepping into the ring himself, he's letting Jim throw the punches. That's the classic Jay style. Move silent, stay clean, and let someone else deal with the smoke. And 50, he's not fooled at all by that approach. The second 50 caught wind of Jim getting cozy with Jay-Z, he wasted zero time reacting. He jumped straight on Instagram and started calling him out the way only 50 can. Loud, bold, and unfiltered. He posted clips, memes, and captions clowning Jim for switching sides just to stay afloat. He said Jim was acting like the industry's favorite puppet and hinted hard that Jay was pulling his strings from behind the curtain. 50 even suggested Jay didn't want to deal with Nas himself, so he sent Jim to stir things up instead. And this wasn't just 50 trolling for fun, he sounded serious with it. He reminded everyone listening that Jay has a long history of letting other people step into the fire while he stays in the background, looking calm. According to 50, this whole Nas situation is just the latest example. Jim is doing Jay's bidding while pretending he's out here making moves on his own. This whole thing has the rap world watching every new post like it's a clue. Things got brutal real fast once the internet jumped in, and chaos hit every corner of social media.
Diplomats know nobody else. Me, Jim Jones, check my track record, then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries, then check all them entries and like if you want to go to the billboard entries, pull up Nas billboard entries, then pull up my billboard entries.
Can we address one thing though?
Go ahead.
Jim Jones has 9 entries in the Billboard 200 with 3 top 10 albums and no number ones, while Nas has 27 entries, 16 top 10 albums, and 6 that have reached number 1 on the Billboard 200.
Right now, 2025, I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap circles around.
Smoke.
Jim Jones is rapping at a high capacity right now in 2025. I'm on record as saying I think some of the best music that's been coming out of New York in recent years has been from Jim Jones. I haven't seen Nas in that mode. Nas still makes great music at a high level. I just haven't seen Nas in that, let's get active, getting at each other mode.
Fans started digging up old interviews where Jim was praising Nas heavy, calling him one of the greatest ever, and even saying Nas inspired his whole hustle. Those clips spread everywhere in seconds, and suddenly folks were asking, so which Jim Jones are we getting today? The Nas fan or the Nas hater? It made his whole switch up look forced, and the memes came rolling in nonstop. Meanwhile, Nas didn't react at all. Not a tweet, not a post, nothing. And that's what made it sting even more. He stayed cool, focused on dropping timeless bars and collecting awards, while Jim looked like he was chasing attention in every direction, and 50, he's enjoying every minute of this mess. He keeps firing shots at Jim, sometimes low-key, sometimes straight up direct, but always sharp enough to hit. At one point, he even said, Jim's the type who will diss anyone just to get his boss's attention. That hit extremely hard. Then things took a darker turn when rumors started swirling that people inside Roc Nation actually encouraged Jim to stir up controversy with Nas as part of a publicity play. Just think about it. Controversy boosts clicks, streams, and attention, and Jay is known for being a master at controlling narratives without ever stepping into the spotlight himself.
Jim Jones went on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's, look, a topic in a topic.
Yeah.
He went on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's podcast and had a lot to say about some dude on the internet that said Jim Jones is better than Nas and has more Billboard hits than Nas.
It was a young kid. I believe he was like 23 or something, 22, 23. And he was saying that for his generation, his era, they don't look at Nas. And a lot of people took offense to that. I personally did not take offense just because of the kid's age, of the generation.
It's like a sports conversation. Like the numbers are the numbers. But in New York City, with rappers, we don't necessarily go by that.
Yes, Travis Scott is the bigger act, more hits, more numbers, more. But to the rappers, don't nobody give a about what Travis Scott is talking.
So if 50's theory is on point, Jim isn't the mastermind. He's just another pawn on Jay's board, and not even a valuable one. A pawn that can be replaced easy. But because 50 is 50, he didn't stop at throwing words online. He started leaking old behind-the-scenes stories too. Stories about moments when Jim allegedly begged for features, begged for meetings, and still got curved by some major names in the industry. This added a whole new layer to the drama, and fans ate it up instantly. He's basically tearing down the tough guy image Jim tries to push, making him look like someone desperate for acceptance in circles that were never really checking for him in the first place. It's wild because at this point, the whole situation feels way bigger than rap. It's a fight for pride, for credibility, for respect, for relevance. Jim keeps trying to show he belongs in the same conversations as the legends, but every move he makes just gives 50 more fuel to call him out in front of everybody.
Yeah. Were you smoking when you said you better than Nas?
I might have been a little bit. Well, as far as let's get this right. I'm way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when we talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that bullshit.
But listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school.
50 once said, "A real boss keeps their hands clean even when they do dirt." And that line still hits hard. It explains exactly how this industry really works. Jay-Z built his whole image on being calm, polished, strategic, and untouchable, but people around the culture swear he's calculating every move like a chess grandmaster behind that quiet smile. From the way folks say he positioned himself after Biggie's era, to the way he allegedly froze out his old Rockefeller partners, Jay learned early that power don't come from shouting. It comes from silence and control. He doesn't just play the game, people swear he practically controls the board.
What's up with that Jim Jones, man? Hip-hop, of course, you know, is a competitive sport. But on the other end of it, it's like certain people shouldn't be able to say your names until they done something in the genre of music. I've done too much in this music to even have to answer that question. Like Jim Jones, who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's not like no one's top 10 list, maybe not even his family. Oh my God. I was saying last night, it was like the 8th guy on the bench just screaming at Jordan, like, you a bum. Like, you wanna be like the 9th guy on the bench. I'm not even worried about you.
And when you look at how things played out over the years, some fans think there's a pattern. He distanced himself from Dame Dash, made sure Cameron couldn't get too much shine under the Rock banner, and now Jim Jones is suddenly out here poking at Nas again, while Jay stays completely silent and smooth, like he's not connected to any of it. To a lot of folks, that's classic Jay. Everybody else gets messy while he walks away spotless, cool, and fully in control. It's ruthless for sure, but some people call it genius because it keeps his brand untouchable. And that's exactly why 50 doesn't rock with either of them. Loyalty is everything to him, and in his eyes, Jay and Jim don't move with that same code. That's why 50 rides so hard for M, because he feels M never switched up on him, never played both sides, and always kept it real even when the industry started shifting. M has been solid since day one. Never switched sides, never folded, never chased trends just to stay relevant. When that rumor started flying around about Jay trying to block 50 from hitting the Super Bowl halftime stage, it was M who stepped up and said, if 50 ain't performing, then I'm not performing either.
I'm still here. From whatever you painted the picture to me to being a hype man, or he wasn't the best rapper, or he just started to get whatever you want to narrative you want to paint. You still got to listen to me talking to you right now in 2025. What I did for Nas probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life. The last time he was in some shit like this where people were comparing is when him and Jay was beating on him.
That's loyalty you can't fake, and it's something money can't buy. Because here's the truth. Fame fades, streams slow down, and trends switch up overnight, but respect, that's the real currency out here. And no matter how much noise Jim is making right now, everybody knows Nas helped build the foundation the culture stands on today. You can't troll your way into greatness. Real greatness comes from time, legacy, and steady consistency that never slips. So now it's on you. Whose side are you rolling with in this whole wild saga? Team 50? Team Nas? Or do you think Jim is really standing on his own business out here? This story's got so many angles, the whole internet's buzzing. Make sure you hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this with your people so the convo keeps moving. And don't forget to subscribe for more. This story is nowhere near done, and you're gonna wanna be here for the next chapter.